We just switched like that.
All right. Hey guys, and welcome back to another fabulous episode of Pardon Our Honesty. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Megan.
And today we are talking about, the deep divide and the death of Mr. Charlie Kirk. May his soul rest in peace. I did not know him.
So let's start with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yesterday when we were on the phone, you said you'd never seen any of this stuff.
Never.
So you would have had no idea who he was.
No, I did not know anything about who this gentleman was until the day he was shot and killed.
So
no idea.
What do you think that tells us, though? In general, not about you, but in general.
In general, it tells me if I'm not actively searching or talking about the things he would have been talking about, then it's not going to show up in the news feed. I never saw him on the news.
I never saw him on
that I can recall. That all our social media is basically programmed to what we generally look at, click on, like, heart, comment on. And so if you never comment on that kind of content, you're never going to see it. Because when I heard it on the news, I was like,
Who's this guy?
Who's this guy? Why are we really in total mourning for him? What does he do? So then I started kind of looking up what he did. And I think you had sent me a video and I was like, okay, no, I probably wouldn't have listened to his content because there's some things I agreed with, some things I didn't. So I try to be apolitical. So I just stay in my little lane and keep going. And then for us being in the military, we weren't supposed to disparage leaders. So that was always a rule, especially the commander in chief. So we never posted anything about political whatever. Yeah. If you wanted to participate, you could, but it was a clear distinction. You had to be in your civilian clothes or acting as a good American citizen, trying to get people to vote and do stuff, but you weren't supposed to do nothing crazy either. So that's just ingrained in me. And then if you have an opinion, it seems like everybody that you know, that you thought you knew, who does not agree with that opinion is on you like white on rice, like,
they hate you.
Oh my God, how could you say that? I'm like, what the heck? Why can't I have an opinion? It might not be the same as yours, but I'm entitled to my opinion.
I think for me, like if you look at my news feed, I've never seen him on Facebook. So I don't know if he's on Facebook. I've seen him on Instagram because my Instagram, this is kind of funny. It's not funny, but I have a lot of true crime and I do a lot of religious stuff. So those two extremes are on my feed. So I would see his stuff all the time come up, clips. I'll be the first to say that it's amazing if your only source of information is social media, I think you're failing yourself and you're failing the people around yourself. Because like you said, you never even knew about him. So you're right. Social media is geared towards whatever it is you're looking at. You are oblivious to anything else. Same with me. There are things that happen in the world. I'm like, what? It's because it's not in my feed. So I don't know. And I don't watch the news. Like I will not it's not on my TV. I would watch his clips. And the thing I really liked about him, and I didn't agree with everything he had to say either, but what I really liked about him is one, he was just true to his conviction. But two, he opened up the door for debate and conversation without calling you an idiot. You should die for what you're saying, the degrading. Now, did he have extreme thoughts? Yes, he did. Some, I do feel like I was oblivious to some of the things people were saying that he has said. So I started, going down and watching the full clips. And some of them were extreme content. Agreed. Other ones were totally taken out of context. Yeah. And one of the ones is the reference that, some people will have to die by guns in order to keep our Second Amendment right. I think what he means is when people have the right to bear arms, there are going to be fatalities. Okay, yeah. But the way that the people were posting, well, glad you took one for the team and stuff like that. I feel like the extreme for me, even if he was somebody I hated, right? Say I hated him. And I thought he was the biggest idiot in the whole world. I would never celebrate his death. Like, just because every day I feel like we come across people who have totally different opinions of us. I shouldn't be okay with the fact that they died because of it. Like, that's not okay. We should be able to come into a room completely disagree. Because, I mean, there's a lot of people who disagreed with his thoughts. So should they all die?
No. Well, because
You know what I'm
then
saying?
you're just
Like,
all going to be dead. That doesn't even make sense.
right. And so I feel like, you know, I've seen people relate to him to Hitler, that Hitler apparently, and I didn't know this, so I don't, again, social media, so I don't know if it's true or false, but that Hitler used to go in groups and allow open debates like that. And that's why people really liked him, because he would have open debates with people. And so I didn't know that either. I don't know if that's true or false. You know, I should have Googled my resources first, but I can see, I appreciate that environment.
Yeah.
But I just can't believe some of the people that I saw saying they're so excited he was dead, like literally celebrating his death. And I was like, that's kind of harsh. And I think the other thing too is the desensitized response. You know, it's in your news feed. Oh my gosh, he got shot. Scroll up. Oh, look there's Kit Kats. And then you scroll up and then there's another thing. Oh, he got killed. And then you scroll. It's like, it's not even registering anymore. Yeah.
And like you were saying, I hate the fact that we can take a little soundbite of a part of a conversation out of context and make it to whatever side we are on. So he had whole debates, you know, he allowed dialogue, which I think is where we need to be, having dialogue. And so what if I don't agree with you? Maybe doing that dialogue, I can get a different perspective on what you're trying to say, because we all have biases. We all have our own inner perspective of what we think the world should be, who we think people should be, all of that. But can we come together and just talk and figure out, do I really believe what I believe, or can you sway me by your evidence and what you're saying to sway me to your side? But if I just take a sound clip and I say, Megan, your shirt is ugly, and put that out on social media, and then after I said your shirt is ugly, I said something else to contradict that, all the people are going to see is Tiffany said Megan's shirt was ugly. How can she be a best friend? She is terrible. And you didn't even get the full story. So I do hate that part about it. I would never celebrate somebody dying, because, I mean,
over an opinion.
Yeah. Because, I mean, even in war, I was in rooms where we actually saw people dying. Some of them celebrated because they were our enemies, but that's a life that God gave, and we just took it. Yeah, it was bad people, but we couldn't arrest them and put them away, or yeah, they killed some of us, but it's still that you're not supposed to do that no matter what environment you're in. So I would not be happy. And that's a wife who lost her husband, a child who lost their father, brother and uncle. No, that's not okay.
And another part of that day is that people were posting is that there was a high school shooting that same day, or was it high school, or it was a school shooting. But like what I was saying is why I feel it was overlooked per se. Charlie, I think he had, I don't know, I didn't follow him. He showed up in my feed, but I think he had 80 million followers.
Probably.
So of course, if something happens to somebody like that, what's going to be in your face instantly? Think of every single follower sharing every single thing that they're seeing about Charlie. I think that's how is it okay? No, it's not okay. But I think that's how it got overlooked or overshadowed, because this happened over there, but this is happening and 80 million followers are sharing and talking and everybody, and it was at a college campus. Yeah. It was like a sharpshooter. I still am a little confused how that kid did that, because I mean,
there's some conspiracy.
Oh, there's a lot of conspiracy
going
theories
around now. Unfortunately, I probably shouldn't say this, but I do feel like if the suspect had been of another race, I don't know if he would have made it to jail. But that is a very skilled shot that not everybody in the world, very few people in the world could make a shot like that. And you're just a young kid. If you
on a roof, practicing, you're just in your jeans and you pull out a gun. I don't know.
You've been practicing your whole life to make that shot 200 yards away?
Yeah. Under a tent.
And he's moving and speaking and talking. I don't know, but.
And then, so, you know, the conspiracy theories are always good, you know, you can get lost in them.
Yeah.
But then they said how it happened too, right after they were talking about mass shootings.
Wow.
That was the last question. And then he, and then of course people are showing videos of people like making sign, like it's this whole thing. Like I think you could turn anything into a conspiracy theory. I don't think you'll ever know what is, because now Candace Owens is putting a bunch of stuff out. That was his best friend, that she feels there's more behind it too. So
Ed and I talked about that the other day because one of our prominent leaders, Malcolm X, his life started, he was a totally different person than Malcolm X. But then once he went to jail, he converted to Muslim. When he went to Mecca for the big celebration, I think it's Ramadan, he did not see what he had been taught. So his ideals start to change about, what am I doing? Why am I promoting this? And then shortly after that, he died. So I watched Candace Owens. I like her. And I watched the clip where she was talking about that. And I was like, they best friends. That says a lot. And he wasn't like, for me, somebody that walked the line and was like, go Black people, go brown people. But if he's best friends with her, then they have been having some conversations like you and I have. And could it be possible? Maybe. Or maybe he just saw that, okay, well, maybe some of the things I believe might not be
in line with you, but
or maybe I should consider this different perspective. And that's okay. But yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah.
They best friends?
Yeah. For a long time, I think since 2017. So, I mean, they've been very close.
But what does that say about how those two people, they're not on the same coin?
They are on everything except I think Israel is their only. She has the same beliefs about DEI as he did.
Okay.
They shared same political views. The biggest thing they had the difference on recently, where people thought they weren't friends anymore, was over Israel. And I don't know exactly the stances, but she references it that was their only divide, but they were still friends. I think something you said that might be like a misconception is that because she's Black and he's white and he had the views he had, that no way they would have the same views because she's Black.
That's so not true.
But she did, I think, on just about everything. She had a different, take but some things they did disagree on. Yeah. But I think too, I think his was so dramatic because it was in front of such a large group of people. He had a bunch of followers. But we were talking the other day, like the girl on the train. My family, when I talk to them, none of them have heard of it, right? They're from the Midwest. Really? This was 5 days, 6 days, never heard of it. They had no idea what I was talking about. Oh. And so I think a lot of tragedies happen in areas all the time. Yeah. I think the ones that get the most publicity are the ones that cause the most social divide. Yes. Right. So and I also think, I don't know what it is as a generation. It's just like the answer is to kill somebody. Like, what was it last year? The kids pulled into the wrong driveway, and the guy shot at them and killed a girl, I think it was. Then this little boy last week, I think it was Texas, was playing Ding Dong Ditch. He was 11. He was running away, and the homeowner, who unfortunately is ex-military, he probably maybe, I don't know what he was thinking, but he shoots at the kid, kills the kid. Then you get the girl on the train. She just gets on the train, and I don't know if he knew her, didn't know her, whatever, but she's dead. Yeah. Then you have school shootings. You've got the Charlie Kirk. Is this how we handle conflict and differences? And then the only ones that get media attention are the ones that create a divide between people. But I think the only ones you see on the news, when I went through my news feed, man, people were ugly. I mean, they were ugly. They were fighting. And if you agreed with anything he said, then you're the problem. And then they're saying and I'm thinking, we're all the problem. I made a post about that. We are all the problem. Yes. How we respond, how we comment, the crap we share, every single one of us is part of the problem.
Yeah. I agree with that. But I don't think what can bring people together to talk. And I do feel like the media system, okay, they are looking for ratings. Mm-hmm. They are looking for viewers. Mm-hmm. They are looking to, kind of.
I think they want to keep divide.
Yeah, they want to keep divide because that's lining their pockets and helping their bottom line. But still, even you were saying, we don't even know what's happening throughout the world. here in our area, there was a high school shooting at a football game, and they have magnetic detectors that the kids and the parents have to go through. So how did this little fella get a gun? And it was all over a fight. They were going to get ready to fight, and then the guy pulls out a gun and shoots the other one. It's like, what the heck?
Pick a hill and punch each other. Whoever's standing wins.
No.
Like,
but then the other thing is, for me, in the scrolling of the Facebook and Instagram, I can't do it. I cannot bring myself, and maybe that's part of my own mental whatever. I just cannot do it. I can scroll maybe 1 or 2 times, look at, hey, this person having a birthday. Oh, look at the pretty flowers, because I love flowers. Or, oh, look at that decoration. I get a lot of ads for decorating your house or whatever. But I just can't do it. I'd rather sit at a table and just have a conversation with somebody than scroll on social media or play my dumb video game. Because
at least the video game doesn't have like all this rhetoric going on. You're just doing your little Candy Crush.
Yeah. And then it's so ugly. It's so ugly that just because I don't believe like you, if I post anything, and I'm telling you, it's just wild that if I post anything, and I refuse to do it because I don't want the backlash. I don't understand how, I guess I do understand, but I would never want to be in a position where my life, everything I say is scrutinized by every single person that follows me or doesn't like me. To me, that's living a life of anxiety. That how did he could decompress when he went home? Because you got these 80 million people that love and like you, but you probably got another 80 million saying, I wish you would die. And that's crazy, just because we can't agree, or we can't make them agree with what I feel or what I believe. And then the First Amendment says you have freedom of speech.
Well, and I'll say this too. I think one of the perspectives that I've reading people's comments, which, Nick told me, Megan, stop, because I responded to one of them. I'm like, I don't know how you can celebrate this, but like to be like, yay, way. And then it just then people defend, and I'm like, I should never have done that. I know better. But the interesting thing to me is that people were like, hey, he was trying to coerce these college kids into this certain, like he was a radicalist, right? Okay. So cool. I have kids in college, and one of my kids called after this, and they were in a class, and she was explaining to us how they were justifying in class the shooting, and they were basically, she said, I had to sit there and not say anything because I was one of like 18 people in the room, or there was 2. So she was one of 2, but there was 18 in the room that didn't share all the same views as everybody else. So when people are saying, and I, went to college over 25 years ago, it wasn't political when I was in college. I mean, I went to school, like that's what I did, and here now it's the second child in college that has basically told me college teaches it very one way. And if you have another, like if you believe in God, or if you're just kind of down the middle, maybe you're not completely Republican or completely Democrat, you're the odd man out. And so I feel like I think that's why he targeted college campuses, because if you're getting one thing from your professors and your roommates and stuff, he was bringing another thought process so that you can create your own opinion, right? But I think people forget how influenced, just like, back to social media, if these kids are only on certain things, like, they were saying that the shooter was very involved in the dark web.
And was another scary subject.
So if you're in that all the time and these people are cheering you on, and of course, if you have no confidence, I think there's rumors he might have had some mental stuff going on, and you have this group of people going, yeah. Well, now you feel empowered.
Of course.
So
why wouldn't you?
There's so many influences from so many ways that I think that I like to hear both sides.
Yeah.
I like when my friends say, I completely disagree with that. This is what I think. This is blah, blah. Great. I may agree with you. I may agree with you 70%. I may agree with you 0, but we should still be able to be friends.
Yep.
I don't think it means that I should hate you and unfriend you and we should never talk. And like, especially when I know the heart of somebody.
Yeah. And I think I fell into that a long time ago, where I shared with you, for us, when we were in Iraq, and Barack Obama won the presidential election. I think it was probably like 6 of us out of everybody in the office that were, I guess, in favor for him. I don't know. I could be wrong, but we did not openly celebrate in front of everybody. After his acceptance speech, we walked out of the office. We went to a little corner on the other side of where everybody was, and that's when we celebrated, because we did not feel it would have been okay for us to be excited that he won. Now, look on the other side. I think if the other candidate had a won, they probably would have cheered and been like, yay, go, whoever it was. And we probably would have cheered and clapped as well. But it just, even in that environment, it says, if you're not on this side or that side, or you're not on the side that is most popular, you need to shut down. But I do appreciate that Charlie was in the colleges talking and having this dialogue, because that is our future. They are going to be the leaders of our country. And maybe with having the open discussion, things can change. I mean, I don't know. I feel like some of us are just so ingrained in this is what we're supposed to believe that we don't have room to be flexible and look at our biases and our prejudice to change. But it could, and it's going to start there.
Yeah.
It's going to bring about change in those environments, because us old people, we believe what we believe.
But I think
and
that's
don't want
it.
to
I think we
change.
believe what we believe. And I think too, everybody defines themselves. I won't say everybody. Most people define themselves by Democrat or Republican. That drives me freaking insane.
Or left or right.
Or left or right.
What does that even mean?
Same thing. I mean, Democrats left considered and right. But like, why? If we took that away, let's just say that didn't exist, I think the world itself would be generally different, because we're not because I have some beliefs that I go on the left, and I have some that I believe on the right.
Yeah.
I couldn't say to anybody, I am 100% this way, because there's just different things, different views. But it's like in this world, you have to be one or the other, and then that is what you are defined by.
But do you feel like, okay, when I say left or right, to me, it feels like I'm categorizing people and they can't get out of that.
Exactly.
Left or right.
Exactly.
Like, left is, in my mind, is black and brown people, and right is
no, I don't
white
think that at
people.
all. So for me, left, I think Democrat, and right, I think Republican. I don't base it on race, because I know plenty of people on the left that are white, and I know plenty of people who are black on the right. So, I mean, for me, it's not race. Yeah. But I 100% see liberal, conservative, left, right. There is this line, and it's like people feel you cannot be both. You can't be in the middle. You have to be defined by one or the other. And for me, I'm like, I don't, like, you'll, even on, you read comments. Somebody will make a general comment. Oh, you must be on the left. Oh, you're a liberal. And it's like, oh my God.
No, I'm just a human being that feels like you shouldn't murder somebody.
Right.
Because they have a difference of
Or you might have all these,
fight.
You might have all these views over here, but maybe you do think you should have a right to bear arms. So okay, what happens then? You know what I mean? Or just different things. You might have all these views over here, but maybe you believe in pro-choice.
Yeah.
Then I don't believe every person is 100% in this label they've given themselves. Yes. But see, like in your brain, you said, left is black. And for me, I don't see it as color, because I know so many of both, but I do see it as totally liberal or totally conservative. It's like, you can't be anywhere else except one or the other.
Yeah.
And then when you have a different view, it's like they come at, instead of like conversation and education, it's, I'm going to come at you. You're an idiot. You're stupid. Your people kill people. And it just goes like, you guys are the problem. You want to be a unity, but you cause all the hate, and you do this and you do that. And it's like, can we just have a conversation?
No, I don't know. I mean, I have seen reports that they said they were looking for military members who said anything negative or derogatory about Charlie Kirk. And I feel that's wrong. And I feel that just because I have an opinion, okay, I might not have agreed with him, or I feel that his views did not benefit my culture or my race. If I say that publicly, that I should be punished for that. But I feel like a lot of people, based on their comments, aren't going to be punished for that.
I saw like the other day that 180 people have been fired already. Mm-hmm. But we talked about this yesterday too. I do think you have to understand though, when you have a job, that's why we don't post about anything.
Hell no.
So, and the reason being,
Right?
is because when you have a job, one, for us, you represent all types of people.
Mm-hmm.
So if I put one opinion that might seem like an opinion, I could lose those relationships with those clients based on that, number one.
Absolutely.
Number two, if I work for a brand, Old Navy, okay, I work for Old Navy, and I post something in favor or against, I don't think it should be either, I am now making a statement as a representative of that brand.
Yeah.
So I can see how some of these people, like I've seen CEOs get fired, and I've seen, because I think there's so much backlash and so much publicity about it. And then you give an opinion and now you represent the whole brand. Like if you're a head person at a company and you represent that brand, whether you're in favor or not, they shouldn't comment. I mean, if you look at a lot of us in our field, a lot of people didn't comment. Some did. But I have to think of our boss and our company. Yeah. And if I say something one way or the other, could that hurt them? Could that hurt everybody? So I think it's like, and with the military, I feel like he was not a political figure. So number one, he's not somebody running our country. So you should be able to have your opinion. But I also think it makes it hard because if you're my superior and I see you post, you hated the guy and you're so glad he's dead. Mm-hmm. And now I work for you. Is this going to affect our relationship? Because you know that I was a proponent of him. So are you going to keep me from being promoted? Are you going to like treat me differently? So I think there comes a line of like when you, unless you're completely self-employed, you do something in a leadership position. I can see, not just even on this subject, I mean, religious views, abortion views, you start posting that stuff, representing somebody. Yeah. I feel like it could get sticky.
But I think they pick and choose what's okay.
For sure.
Because sometimes...
What's the most media?
Which is unfortunate.
Because nobody's getting in trouble for commenting about the girl on the train. No, I mean, the guy who killed her got raised $75,000 on a GoFundMe that somebody created for him. But nobody... Yeah, and then they had to shut it down because you can't support criminal activity. But anyway, but like how, so if somebody said, oh, he deserves help or whatever... Mm-hmm. Did they get fired?
Like, probably not. No,
because there's no freaking media coverage, and that's not going to create a divide.
No,
but this Charlie creates a divide.
That is so ugly. Unfortunately, I don't see that it's going to change until we are able to have these hard, difficult conversations that brings us more to the middle versus dividing us. But how do you do that when everybody is so entrenched in
this way or that way?
This way or that way. And I never thought I would see a world like this. I mean, as a teenager, young adult, sure, there's political biases, there's racial biases, there's prejudices, but it was never in my face, I don't feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like now it's just, God, Jesus, we can't even have a simple conversation about anything without it blowing up into 4th of July because everybody wants to be right. What if you're just wrong?
Yeah. Or what if everybody is right? I mean, what if you believe what you believe and you feel you're right? I believe what I believe and they believe what they believe and we all think we're right. Who's to say any of us are right or wrong? If that's your convictions, if that's what you believe, if that's how you were raised. I mean, and I think that goes to everything. Like, I think this is way off subject, but it goes to like, yesterday I was sitting there talking to two parents, right? And one parent is like in their kid's shit all the time. The other parent, nothing, doesn't check their grades. The kid has no chores, no responsibilities. And then there's us. We're kind of in the middle. And I'm thinking in my head at first, I thought, she's crazy. How's she not check his grades, give him any chores, whatever? Well, she might not be wrong for her, right? It works for her. She thinks it's right. Okay, cool. Her kid does all A's, does great, good kid, great. For me, I'm in the middle. My kids, I love them, but they're a lot of work, but I love them. And, and the other one, so it's like, we're so quick to say, that's right, that's wrong, or you should do this, or you should do that. And I think it goes to everything. Mm-hmm. Your politics, your religion, everything. I literally was in class. Okay, so I'm going to give an example. I don't know okay, so I'm teaching. Okay, so what do you say about Black women? What's the stereotype?
They were angry.
Okay,
pissed off all the time.
Okay, right. I'm not even thinking about that until afterwards. So that's in my head. Okay, so just for a note. So I teach class and 20 people in there maybe, right? Mixed class. And people are engaging, talking, and this one specific person was 2. Well, I had to go onto the paper instead of on the computer, and go through the math of finding your average square because, you know, the triangle listings don't show up. So I had to do all the math. I'm not a great teacher, but I'm trying to break it down, and I'm drawing, I mean, not a great teacher in math. I'm a great teacher, but not math. And, so I'm writing it out. I'm trying to get these numbers off the top of my head, like 200,000 price point, whatever. And I get through all of it, and this person goes, "You forgot to divide in half." And I was like, "What?" And I go, "No, I did." And I go, "Oh, yeah, I did." I used such low sales price numbers in my example of 200,000 that I was at $80 a square foot. So I thought I already did the half.
Okay. Yeah.
But I didn't. So I fixed it. Cool. And we go on, and you have everybody do the math. Okay, get it. Well, after that, she's sitting like this.
Oh.
And so I'm like, okay. So I get to, this is the end of class pretty much because we've been in there an hour and a half. So I said, okay, did I lose everybody? Is everybody good? And I said, y'all look glazed over here with these glazed faces, because people are just like, I did a shitty job explaining, but I tried to clean it up. Are y'all good? I can't tell what's going on up there. And I said, and you look angry. Are you good? Did I upset you? Or like, and she was like, and then the girl next to her, who's her friend, said, she always looks like that. I don't know the girl, right? I was just saying it, you know, but she happened to be a black woman.
Yeah.
So I don't even think about any of this. This is just Megan. You know, hey, you're glazed. You look dang, because she was just like this the whole time after that. I was just mad. Like, she looked like I was an idiot. And why were you teaching this class, right? So I'm always one of those people, like, let's break that. Like, you know, it's okay. Class is over. I get in the car and I sit down. I'm like, shit. I call Nick. I'm like, oh my God. I was in class. And this girl, I thought she was mad, so I tried to make a joke, and I tried to, like, you know, but she was black. You know, Tiffany always says that they're stereotyped as angry black women. Did she think because I was white, I was stereotyping her, blah, blah. And Nick goes, Megan, you cannot go through your life thinking about everything you say and do, especially when you don't have an ill intent. But, like, I think that's where we've gotten. I think it's where we've gotten. You're so careful. I tell Nick all the time. He tells everybody ma'am and sir, and I said, stop saying gender.
Yeah. That's hard for us, though.
I get so mad. I said, stop saying gender. He's like, Megan, I am not doing anything out of ill intent. That's just me. I like to say ma'am and sir. It's just polite. But he's like, we cannot change how we talk every day unless you're being an asshole. But if you're just trying to be polite and you might say the wrong thing, we can't walk around on eggshells, because then we're never going to have genuine relationships. He's like, I've never done, he doesn't say, hey, ma'am or hey, sir, to be rude.
No,
I mean,
I'm never going to say that to be
But
rude.
I think that's the climate we've gotten to. Yeah. Is that, oh my God, I left that class like panicking, called Nick. I'm like, oh my God, I think she thinks that I said it because Tiffany's always saying, you know, people are stereotyped as black, angry women. Da, 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 da. He's like, Megan, is that what he said? Is that what you meant? I said, no, I just thought she was fucking pissed at me because I can't do that.
No, like, I would not want you to go around the world in your life feeling like that. And that's, I think, unfortunately, that's what's keeping us from having the dialogue, because
we're afraid.
People like us, you're not the normal. You're not the ones that are, I'm staunchly right or I'm staunchly left. You're trying to bring about, oh crap, let me be conscious and aware of how I'm treating people, even if they don't look like me. Most people wouldn't give 2 cents. They want to walk out of that class and be like, oh, well, she's just an angry black woman. Too bad. But you were concerned about it. So that makes you very different. So, yeah, I'm on the same page as Nick. Come on now. Yes, you care, but we can't live our lives like, okay, I got to make sure I do everything right, depending on who's in the room. Because you are going to offend somebody, right? Period.
But I think that's what's happening is that lack of, like, I even said on my thing, I'm afraid to talk to people sometimes because I don't want to think I'm just fucking ignorant. But if I don't know, I mean, I think there's plenty of times I've come to you and said, yep, why is this or that? Or even the other day in our video, we were talking about our hair. It's not ignorant to ask what you don't know. Because how else am I going to know or understand it? And I don't know.
But everybody's not even open to having that kind of dialogue to ask the hard questions. Like I said to you when we were talking about hair, do you guys tan because you want to look black? I've always wanted to ask that question. Yeah. But I dare not put that on social media. I dare not ask that to some other people that would have been like, what the fuck, Tiffany? How could you say that to me? Why would you ask me a dumbass question like that? But it's just a real genuine curiosity.
Right.
So if it wasn't for you, that question would have been still just in my head.
Yeah.
Because I would have been too
afraid. You don't want to offend somebody or
to
somebody think you're crazy
or,
And so I think that's where, like, there are strong political views and people should have them. You know, that's what the country's made up on. And I think it gets to the dangerous part where if you don't agree with me, I have the right to kill you or stab you or shoot you or whatever it is. I feel like that is too extreme.
Yeah.
And instead of people saying, like, I would have been more impressed with people saying, you know, hey, this wasn't right. I don't agree with what he did.
Yeah.
But don't celebrate his death. Like,
Right.
you could say the death was not okay, but I do not agree with anything he stood for.
Yeah.
And I've seen, so just to bring up controversy. So I've seen people share George Floyd. Everybody was upset about Charlie because of what he stood for. Something about why weren't more people upset for what happened in that situation, I guess. And I don't, I mean, that was a long time ago now, but I do remember there was a lot of outrage, but it did appear more on one side than the other, right? But I know for a fact I never think it's okay for a police officer or anybody to kill somebody, right? You know, I mean, not in self-defense or whatever.
Yeah.
But did it seem like there wasn't as much outrage then? Or was there as much outrage then?
I think it was a lot of outrage then. It's just, it was outrage on the Black and brown community. So that always, to me, I feel like it's always viewed as a threat of we're going to try to take over the country, or we're just going to be assholes and riot and loot throughout the street. I think that gets the protest and the, hey, call for things need to change. That part gets overshadowed because there are people that don't feel heard and are hurt, and they do bad stuff like loot and riot and stuff like that.
And I think that takes over because then people, because I agree, because I would say, like, I've seen all these silent protests for this and all that. And I do think, unfortunately, in bad situations like that, when people are setting things on fire and turning over cars, that's all people are looking at this point. You've lost the original stance.
Yeah.
And I feel like it gets washed away by the negative, you know, and of course, media is only going to show that part.
Yeah.
They're not going to keep covering the original part. Right.
So, or the other controversy where you have the police, you know, in front of the people protesting or the rioters, and then there's a clash, and then, oh, that's what we're going to show. Look at the police and the people clashing, instead of, hey, we need change. We need to, you know, do things differently, form some different policies as far as, you know, police interaction with people in general, because even if it was a Caucasian person or another race, I don't think they should put their foot on their or knee on the neck until the person dies and they're screaming, I can't breathe. You shouldn't do that to anybody. But yeah, it's how it's displayed and what happens during it that makes the narrative change.
I think one thing that I can never speak from a Black perspective, and you can never speak from a white perspective, and we can never speak from a male perspective because we're women. One of the things that, you know, Charlie would say that I do and I don't agree with, right? So me and you have this conversation at a lot. Yes, there were slaves. Yes, there was all this stuff. But in the last 20 years, you know, just before we go into the backdrop, like, he was talking to this kid at this college. He said, you're an Ivy League college. You're doing, so what can I do that you can't do? Right. And the kid said, I can do everything you can do. He said, I can do everything you can do. And he said, but I get looked at differently when I go in. If you were to walk into a store and I would walk into a store, we get looked at differently. And, you know, Charlie's response is basically like, you can't let your feelings dictate that, because you might think you get treated differently, but you're not. I think that's easier said than done, because I do feel like, I mean, we witnessed it. I can walk into a store and you can walk into a store, and depending on how you look, dressing, you look nicer than all of us that day, and you still got broke. So do I think you have all the opportunities I do? I do. I do think you do. And I mean, you do, and you're doing better than me. So
no, I'm not.
You can. So that part. But do you get treated differently? Yeah, probably. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And I think for people not to acknowledge that, I would say for me, there's 2 times that I feel can feel unsafe. Like last night I was in a parking lot, right? A homeless dude, white dude, sketchy as hell. I was instantly fearful, right? I think it's because I'm a female and I'm in a parking lot trying to get stupid balloons and there's nobody else there. And like instantly I'm like, I could lose the battle with this guy, right? So to me at that point, color doesn't come in. When there is a group of young, like, well, when I was I'm a big girl now, but when I wasn't a big girl, when there was like a group of young like frat guys, always made me nervous.
Why?
Always made me nervous. Even in college, made me nervous because I feel like those are the guys that would get away with something. Like, and so I get nervous even with Ava away at school, like these frat parties and so I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, be
But
careful.
then I do sometimes, if my neighborhood, if I'm walking down to the truck stop or whatever, sometimes if there's a black dude and he looks sketchy, I'm going to get nervous at first. So I think there are not necessarily just black or white, but I do think generally speaking, people have inside before they calm that. But I do think when that kid, it was a very educated kid that was talking, and when he said I get treated differently, I can't say he doesn't.
No.
I mean, who could say that?
But I think what he was trying to challenge him to understand was our feelings aren't necessarily the truth. I may feel I'm being profiled. I may feel they're looking at me. I may feel they don't want me to be in here. But have they said that? Have they demonstrated that? Now, for me, it's just kind of the normal. Me and Ed had the conversation of, okay, yes, he was saying everybody has the opportunity to thrive and be great. But I feel like, yes, I came from a shitty background. I did not believe in my heart of hearts that how I was raised and where I live, that I wanted that to be a part of my life forever. So I also feel like community, while my parents couldn't teach me how to be successful, what to do, my community encouraged me to, hey, you don't have to live this life forever. You can be better. You need to go to school. You need to go to college. My community that I was surrounded by was the reason I didn't accept the status quo. And I don't feel like if that community was there, that I would be where I am now. And he's always like, well, Tiffany, you survived. Everybody else can survive or thrive as well. Well, if they don't have the community to teach them,
I agree with that 100%.
Or to encourage them, then they 100%. Are not.
I agree 100%.
You're going to keep doing everything that you see on a daily. If that's selling drugs, if that's being in a gang, and you don't have anybody saying you don't have to be like that.
Prostitution, anything. I mean, I think about people in certain demographics of the like areas, like I don't want to, like Oklahoma, there's certain areas and there's certain, well, that's, I mean, you just see drugs, you see this, you see that. I mean, you're right. If you've got nobody pulling you out, you could have all the self-motivation in the world, but if you're constantly like all these people around you, I don't know if you've ever watched the YouTube channel Soft White Underbelly. All he does is go and interview like homeless people on like Skid Row and stuff.
Oh.
And they're mostly drug addicts or mental illness or whatever, but it all comes I'll say 9 out of 10 interviews is shitty childhood, no parents who were drug addicts, parents who lived on the street. Like you're right. You repeat the cycle of what you know if nobody's pulling you out of it.
Yeah.
So do I agree with every single thing the guy said? No. Do I agree with some of the stuff he said? Yeah. I also, I believe in God, but there are extreme things that people say that I don't know that I could commit to on that, So I can't say I agree with anybody 100% on anything, but.
Because how could you? You have your own opinion. You have your own life. You have your own experiences. And so, yes, if we were 100% alike, we would be robots.
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah.
God gave us brains to reason and to talk. I even see it in the Bible where, okay, yes, he had these religious people that staunchly believe we're supposed to follow the old law and we're doing it perfectly. But he came and said, yeah, y'all doing that little stuff a little shady. Okay, so you need to stop. But even in that, did they change? No, they kept doing what they was doing. And it's okay. He said what he said and he moved on. You don't want to hear me? Okay, I'm gone. But I don't know. I just think
it's sad.
I think it's very sad.
And I think the biggest thing that I keep going back to is the desensitize of those things with social media now. It's like, I catch myself. I will watch true crime after true crime after true crime. Like it is nothing. And I'm like, it doesn't even faze me anymore. It's like, You know, so when you see something tragic like that, people are just flipping and watching. And it's like, have we gotten to the point? I mean, think about 20 years ago, we didn't have phones like that.
Oh, that was
Maybe
great
more than 20
timing.
years ago. But something happened. If you didn't see it on the news, you weren't engrossed in it and you weren't living in it. And I'm not, I guess maybe that's being oblivious, but everything wasn't put out there. Like there was that kid, I'll just go down, where his friends set him up. There was a love quarrel over this girl and these two boys, and they all set him up and they all show up and kill the kid, and kids are recording it. Like, this is how we're dealing with life now.
Say the what now?
Yes, there was a little love quarrel over this boy, and I'll find you it and send it to you. And the girl, and there were 6 kids, they all kind of set him up. This dark place they meet, he thought they were going to fight, and the guy shoots him.
And kills him.
Yeah, over a girl, and they were in high school. So like, but I think a lot of it is desensitized. Like, oh, I see this on the video game. I see it on the TV show. I see it on Instagram. I see it on Facebook. And the other thing is how many people don't realize how much freaking AI is out there now. My kids are the worst. Like, look at this. I'm like, that's AI.
Come on now.
And even the stuff that looks real, like that class we took, looks real. It was half AI. I mean, people, you don't even realize it. And everything they're seeing is like,
I don't like the AI videos. They look, the ones that are creepy, it's like, what? Why would you do that? But I guess, like you're saying, we've been desensitized to so much that.
And what draws the likes?
Yeah.
Let me make this crazy video because they're going to share it and like it. That's like, and the news feed is such a big thing because I remember a couple months ago, the boys were like, oh yeah, it's all fighting. It was like a national Go Fight Day, right? Or something. They're like, my whole feed's full of it. I said, well, mine's not because I don't look at that shit. No, everybody's is. I said, okay, look at mine. So they look through and it's like
totally different
motivational, you know? And I'm like, it's because of what you guys interact with.
What you're consuming.
What you're liking. It's negative. What your videos you're watching. That's why they put it in your feed because it's something you are going to sit and stare at.
That's terrible. Anyway.
So
we're going to move on, guys, because we probably could talk about this for hours. Yeah. Please be nice to each other. It's okay not to agree and not want them to be dead, okay? That is not a good idea. And people go to jail if you kill other people. Remember that. Anyway, give us your comments down below. And please like and share and give us 5 stars if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. And until next time, bye, guys.